Leadership TV for God and country.
Be part of our brand. Leadership for God and country. Be part of our brand. Leadership for God and country.
Hello there, welcome to a special interview on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred, Ogbebo, your host on this special program. And of course, with me, I have a guest. He is a public affairs analyst. He's also an economist. He's here to speak on the state of the nation. His name is Kunle. You're welcome, sir, to the program.
Thank you very much, Madam Winifred.
Yes. Now, so much has been happening around in the country, talking about the ministerial nominee and their screening at the National Assembly. And of course, at the end of the day, the former just immediate past governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, was not screened for as we speak. And of course, that's the first question I'm going to be asking our economist. There's been so much controversy over non-clearance of Malam Nasir El-Rufai. What is your take on that?
Thank you very much. It's very dramatic to see that the candidature of Malam Nasir El-Rufai turned out like this. It's very dramatic, but it's okay.
But many people actually didn't expect that, given the fact that he just governed the state for 8 years. So why would they have issue with security?
You see, look, the president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the vice president, Mr. Kashim, they have responsibility to bring the best team in this country together to form the cabinet and to also build a very robust economic management team. Because the situation in which this country is today is no longer about APC or PDP or Muslim or Christian. We have just reached a point in the last 8 years that we need a rescue team. So the candidature of Malam Nasir El-Rufai is not about, yes, there can be people who like him, who don't like him, but the focus of this government today should be, how do we build a rescue team? And in this regard, Malam Nasir El-Rufai has gone to the Senate for screening. But security reports have maybe put some question marks, which can still be cleared maybe at an appropriate time. But I want the president and the vice president to know that as at today, from 1999 to date, this is still one of the best public officer Nigeria ever produced. President Obasanjo and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar brought Malam Nasir El-Rufai into their government in 1999. And nobody can fault the performance of Malam Nasir El-Rufai. So we must not throw away the baby
And the bathwater.
and the bath water. So I believe that the president and the vice president need Malam Nasir El-Rufai. I am not saying that a person is indispensable in the country. There are stars like him that we need to assemble. There are stars like him that we need to assemble. And I know many stars like him that are even volunteering to say we are ready to join this rescue team, like myself. People like Mustafa Chikobi, MCO. People like Bite Adeniji. People like Dr. Goke Adegoroye. I can mention 20 Nigerians that are willing to join this rescue team, not on party line, on non-party line, but to say maybe Nasir El-Rufai should not now be part of this cabinet. It will be very, very. In fact, I am beginning to think that a group of us should go and see President Tinubu if they will give us chance to see him and say, Mr. President, we have the following reasons why you must allow Malam Nasir El-Rufai to be part of this government.
Now, yes, during his screening at the National Assembly, from the questions that were being thrown at him, it was obvious that he was supposed to be given the energy sector, talking about the power sector. Now, without, and of course, Nigeria, you are not unaware of what has been happening in the power sector in Nigeria. If El-Rufai is not there to manage, what are the implications?
Thank you very much. You see, there is something called, this is part of the reason why it is important that a rescue team must be put together. The economic management team of this country, which I expect Mr. President to put together as soon as possible. It's even getting too late. We have waited for 70 days now. So let it be headed by the Vice President, because he's a very solid, knowledgeable economist also. So there is a need for some of us from outside to join them, because there is need for institutional memories. Malam Nasir El-Rufai is the genesis of the power sector reform. He brought somebody, a very highly knowledgeable Nigeria, Dr. Lanre Babalola. You see this interview, I'm going to mention names of people who have contributed significantly to the reform. But because of changes in policy every 4 years, those good ingredients of the reform that were packaged from 2000 to 2007 have been eroded over time. So I expect Asiwaju to now reassemble people of different background with his new team to help now build a robust power sector reform. Because the power sector is now. Who has that type of courage and understanding, inside knowledge, more than El-Rufai? There are, but we have not seen one. Maybe he's the one we have seen. So we see his testimony today. He's the one we have seen. And some of us are around him to do this job, because we have fairly reasonable knowledge and understanding of the architecture of the power sector of this country. And importantly, people don't know that the noise we have made about the electricity sector and the propaganda in the last 8 years, what has he earned us? All the job that was done from year 2000 to 2007 were slowed down between 2007 and 2010 because of the situation of President Yaradua, late Yaradua. And then the way the energy sector was managed that time. I was in the Ministry of Energy that time. And I saw all the problem and the politics over politicization of some decisions on gas, on power. But by 2010, Jonathan again President Jonathan picked the sector reform, power sector reform, and tried to deliver it. But they did not, President Jonathan and Madam Desani, they did not address the gas component of the power sector, because you privatize electricity generation,
Without,
that we're going to use largely gas because only about 20% was hydro. But you did not privatize. You did not privatize the gas production and gas supply component. So I own a generating plant to use gas, and I'm now going to a government-owned gas company to buy gas. So they are inefficient. I am highly efficient. I'm prepared to take gas, but the man producing it is government civil servant. So he's not ready to give me gas. So problem started. The transmission infrastructure, who understood it better? The transmission infrastructure of this country, which is the 330 kVA 132 into 33. The 330 kVA and 132 was left in the hand of government, TCM, and poor funding, poor management. So even if you generate and put it on the grid, it cannot take it to anywhere. The grid will collapse. No strength. Since 2015 to date, what has the government of this country done to that sector? Virtually nothing. Even if they have done, we have not seen any result. The situation even went further bad.
yeah, we saw that.
Okay, so you need the El-Rufai to now sit down. I don't know what is the, maybe they know something we don't know. We need the El-Rufai to sit down if this country is to break the jinx. If the El-Rufai sit down with a team to crack the problem of the generation, gas production, gas processing, and gas allocation to the electricity sector, and then the transmission infrastructure, he will lay it out. He's a very brilliant quantity surveyor. He will lay it out. And because of his international reputation, he will attract funding for us. There are a team of us can attract funding because when they check our records, they will see that if you place money at the disposal of these guys, they will use it wisely. So President Tinubu and the Vice President have human capital resource at their disposal. So why will they allow this to elude them? My own is to just advise and encourage the president to take the right decision. And how will he do this? All the political maneuvering and manipulations that are required to get Malam Nasir El-Rufai in this cabinet, the president has the capacity. He's one of the best politicians Nigeria ever produced after Chief Obafemi Awolowo and Sardauna and Zik. So he has it.
Now, if I may chip in,
it will be unfortunate for the country.
With all said, what is the implication of El-Rufai's absence from Tinubu's cabinet for the political economy of Nigeria?
Honestly, if I'm privileged to see President Tinubu, I will say, Mr. President, sir, the image of this government will be in trouble. Because look, the World Bank, IMF, the Western donors, they believe that if Malam Nasir El-Rufai is involved in a project, that it will work. He knows how to tinker with all the processes and get it done. He's a reformer. He gets things done. You refer to President Obasanjo's book. He said, Nasru get things done. We need him in government. Like him, don't like him, I, Dandi Kunle, will continue to say it, that we need Malam Nasir El-Rufai for this country not to go the way of Venezuela, not to go the way of Sudan, not to go the way of Bangladesh. We need a rescue team, and the president and the vice president must assemble us to rescue this country, not on party line, not on religious line. We are ready, we are available. There's enough human capital in this country. Okay, let me digress a bit. Madam Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala came and said he is trying to facilitate for some manufacturers to come to Nigeria. So at the moment, is Nigeria a destination for manufacturing? Not quite. But if they see, because an old company when I was young that has been around, from colonial time, exiting Glasgow Smith. They are exiting. I grew up to know Dunlop in Nigeria. They left. I grew up to know Michelin. They left. So if you want them back, you need the president need a team that this international body can now respect that, oh, if we do this, you will get a competitive environment to now produce and manufacture for Nigeria market and the regional market. This export drive we are talking about is not something, it's wishful thinking we are still doing. It's deeper than what they are thinking about. It's very deep.
No, sir. Talking about the economy, presently Nigeria is contending with high inflation and foreign exchange pressure. What do you think the president can do to earn more foreign exchange?
That now, very good. Okay. Madam, let's do like this. There's a sector I don't want to talk much about, which now, unfortunately, this question will take me to that sector. What are you exporting in large volume that gives you dollar today in this country? Oil and gas. Okay. Madam, what's the volume we're exporting to look after 200 million in the last 1 year, 2 years? What's the volume per day? It's between 1 million and 1.4 million barrels per day. We can't even meet our quota,
target, yes.
OPEC target, not to talk of even having extra to play about in the spot market. So we cannot even meet our natural gas supply to Bonny LNG for LNG to produce the 22 million tons capacity of train 1 to 6. We can't even meet it. So we are doing about 60-70% capacity. So which means even the ready-made money we will have just captured from the market, from LNG, we are not even capturing it with the 22 million capacity plant we have. We are not even, because, so that means if you are not producing enough oil, crude oil, and you are not producing enough gas for you to process and export, you cannot earn enough volume of dollar to fund your dollar obligation. So when people are talking of non-export, which non-export can you drive within 1 year to earn you that kind of volume of money? Because it's all about volume. So if you want to export a yam, how many millions of yam are you going to export? Who are the people to consume the yam outside Nigeria? If you want to export gari, who are the people to consume the gari? So what the world is consuming per second today is knowledge, advanced sciences, crude oil, gas. These are the things that drive the economy of the world. Knowledge, advanced sciences, telecommunication, which is part of knowledge.
Yes,
it's part of knowledge. So these are the things the world are consuming. That is why even our Nigerian in diaspora are earning and sending us money. It's knowledge. If they didn't render one service or the other abroad, they would have not earned money.
Exactly.
So if people talk of export diversification, I look at them. What is that thing? I will give you one example. I hope we have time.
No, yeah, go on.
Brazil is exporting soybeans, yellow corn, meat from beef, from animals, and chicken. How? Because Brazil mass produces yellow corn and mass produces soybeans. And that has given Brazil a comparative and competitive advantage to produce so much poultry, chicken. Brazil in 2019 did almost 3 billion poultry a year. 3 billion. They were exporting poultry meat to the whole world. Refrigerated vessels. And Brazil was exporting soybeans. And Brazil was exporting yellow corn. So my sister, the volume we are talking about is not about 20-30 billion dollars. It's in billions of dollars. So where is the base here in Nigeria? Have we built So when even the power sector that will give you the energy to produce all these things is what we are saying
And
now
to
that Malam Nasir El-Rufai should come
create that
environment.
that will make our manufacturers and multinationals stay.
Because and furthermore, madam, let me give you a leg to even this electricity sector reform.
Okay.
Today, take the map of Nigeria. If you are to give electricity to where production will rapidly be encouraged today, where will you give electricity to? We have to remap the country. The energy need of Nigeria must be remapped if we are to rapidly capture the opportunities that are flying away from our hand. And how? What do I mean by remapping? See Southwest, Lagos, Ibadan, Ogun, Axis. They need electricity. Yes, they need electricity. In South Korea, one cluster in South Korea consumes about 3,000 megawatts of electricity per day in South Korea. Just one cluster. You need that type of arrangement in Nigeria. Southeast, the former Igbo cluster, the 5 states, they need about 2,500 megawatts of electricity per day. And this you can do for them by just putting gas to power in that cluster because they are near gas. They are sitting on gas. Enugu is sitting on gas. Under the coal in Enugu is gas. Anambra is sitting on gas. Part of Abia is sitting on gas. Part of Imo is sitting on gas. Part of Ebonyi is sitting on salt, and under the salt is gas.
How come we are not able to handle
So if you cannot give them at least 2,500 to 3,000 megawatts per day in that cluster, so that they can use it to break the jinx, because they will use it to produce. Now, if you are thinking that electricity is just for domestic use, house residences, no. The country need to be remapped. This is what Nasir El-Rufai is coming to do. He will remap the country. Kaduna, Zaria, Kano, Axis, and part of Katsina and Gusau were for the textile industry in this country. Cotton, ginnery, textile. Give them electricity. Go today, give them electricity. Give them 2,000 megawatts in that cluster today and revive all the textile mill there. We will now become like Egypt. Egypt is one of the best countries in cotton production today.
And not the LCT that they are not producing anything.
No, we still get. If LCT gets on the 500 megawatts steadily today, nobody here will complain. Steadily every day. So because there are no many industries, so if all the other part of the country gradually, you now give them
in terms of like just
I hope you understand the kind of cluster.
I do, and I'm so also enlightened by
we need to think out of the box. We cannot say, oh, a group.
If I may chip in, how come we have not been able to have with what you just pointed out? Of course, from what you pointed out, you are really an expert in that field. How come we will not be able to have people that can harness all this?
This is why I say President Tinubu and the Vice President must please not think just about politics and say, oh, because they have written. Yes, they can write security report about all of us,